Hi, everybody. This is Lori from Laura's World. Thanks for tuning in. We are coming up on Thanksgiving week once again. I'm grateful every day, but I especially love Thanksgiving. I love the fall. And what am I most grateful for today is at the top of my list, my sobriety, because without it, I have nothing else. Drop some comments down there. Tell me what you're grateful for. I would love to hear from you guys. And I want to wish you all a very, very happy Thanksgiving. I couldn't think of a better way to kick off the holiday season with a friend of mine. And I am so, so grateful to call her my friend. And she hosts a podcast called Sober Gratitudes. I'm looking forward to it. And you guys are in for a treat because she's wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, inside and out. So let's talk to Sarah. Hey. Oh my God,
Hi.
Sarah, thanks for doing this with me. I want to tell you that I don't know what happened, Sarah. I don't know how we met.
I
I
do.
know it was on Instagram, and I don't even know how or why you invited me into this meeting.
Oh, and
And
I remember. I'll tell you.
tell me how we met.
Okay, so
Because I'm like, okay, go ahead.
Hillary is the reason why we met
Okay.
because you asked Hillary to be on your show,
Okay.
and she
I
told
mean, I
me.
remember that, and I was like, okay. And I didn't know if we had met before or after. So now this makes sense. Okay.
Well, because I love Hillary so much, and I call her Hills.
Well,
And when she told me what she was doing, I'm like, wow, that's so rad. Like, and I saw, and I'm like, I had this feeling about you. Like, I just trust my gut, like I just
mhm.
trust. Yeah, and so I'm like, I think she needs to be invited to HJ3.
Oh my God. And it was so funny because I hadn't been to a lot of meetings and just started going back, and I was like, you guys were so different
Hmm.
in this meeting. And I was like, holy shit, I love this. If somebody was upset about something, everybody was wrapping their arms around them. And I was not used to that in an AA meeting. And I just
Yeah.
loved that. So thank you for inviting me because I love all you guys. The reason why we're here, darling, happy Thanksgiving. That was
Yeah.
another thing. It was like when you said yes to today and I'm looking at the schedule, I'm like, oh my God, there are no coincidences. And so I would
Aw.
love, 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 love just a little bit of what happened, what was going on with you, and how you came to the rooms of AA and how you're doing your recovery now, because I think it's beautiful and I love watching you. I just do.
Oh.
I
Oh my
do. I'm not,
gosh.
and I don't say that lightly. I honestly, it's just like I smile every time you post something, and it's heartfelt, and I feel that. So the floor is all yours, darling.
Oh, thanks, Lori. Lori, I love you so much. And I'm just so glad. Like, somebody told me once they're like, because I was like questioning like the relationships and the connections I was making in Instagram and on social media. And this friend told me, God is in Instagram. God is here on social, like, but of course, because like this pandemic occurred. And so what are we going to do? Are we
Yeah,
going to sit around feeling sorry for ourselves because we
yeah,
can't get to our AA meetings? No,
yeah,
like, so everyone around the world was like
yeah.
starting meetings. And that's one of the reasons why HJ3 exists. I found AA after decades of stubbornness. I mean, I have to say, like, I am the most willful person. I just, because you know what, I had my first drunk at 14, and it just melted away so much uncomfortability in my skin. And I'm like, thank God I have found my solution to living and existing on this earth. And so, I always say, like, after that night, which I vomited profusely, and I had really long hair, and my best friend was holding it back at the time, and I was just puking, but I was like,
Yes.
I love you. I love this. And I
Yeah,
just at
it does
14 years
something.
old, at 14 years old, I had what I had experienced in my life, and just how I'm wired was, not all that great. Undiagnosed anxiety and depression, inherited. I was sexually abused, and I was in an environment that I didn't know anything other than the environment I was living in.
Mhm.
What I knew for sure, it was like drinking helped me.
What was it?
Yeah, I'm like, I just alcohol and I at that point were like, we're going to just walk through life hand in hand and get through everything
My
together.
best friend. Yeah.
Yeah. And so everything, like I've always been a charismatic person, but also very passionate and like dramatic, like as a teenager, like dramatic is like, oh, a teenage girl being dramatic. Like that's a lot. So like I bugged the shit out of people, family members, because I was just like full of self-pity for so many years of my life, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just thought that I thought I was dumb. Like I felt like I was very dumb, and I felt like that I had to play a certain role in my family, and and these were expectations I put on myself, so I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well enough not to cause any problems in my family, but not so good that I might be like making another family member get jealous and feel worse about themselves.
Okay.
So I just held myself to like very, very specific kind of standards, very controlling, so I had issues with food, I was, measuring my food, and I was a food addict from before I was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And anything that I could do just to change just to numb out, and then I was, as soon as I started getting noticed by men, like by boys, and they were giving me attention, then I responded to that, because like, you get the whole like, oh, like I want to have somebody, like the feeling of somebody like putting me up on this pedestal and like falling in love with me. I'm like, that's what I was missing. And I was really seeking love. I was in all the wrong places, but I was doing the best I could, and then I had hormones that are raging, and just wanting not to be at my house, wanting to be with friends and with boyfriends, and finding friends and boyfriends, like making sure that they like to drink as much as I did. And so that's what I did. And I lived my life. I managed, I drank and loved it and had relationships constantly with men but I manipulated them, and I used my sex powers to like rope men in, like young men at this point. Yeah. Because I was just so desperate for love, and that I felt like I wasn't worthy of, in my upbringing. And so then I just went to college, and I did more of drinking, and I don't know how I graduated college. And I graduated college like 30 pounds heavy. I was like, I blew up like a balloon, and because I was just drinking so much, and I had anxiety attacks all throughout college. And I just thought, I don't know. Like, I just thought that this is what life was. Yeah. And I'm like, and in order to deal with it, you just drink. Like, I was just very confused. Like, I didn't know why I felt certain ways. And like, so my relationships with my family of origin was just not good, because I just didn't know why I felt the way I felt. And I learned how to keep secrets at a very young age. And I'm like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, and like my parents did the best they could. And today I have a wonderful relationship with my parents, and I'm so grateful for that. If it wasn't for this program, if it wasn't for the 12 steps, I would not have the relationship I do with my parents today. I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful that I live around the corner from them, and I can take care of them as I get older. Like I have been throughout my sobriety. Like yes, of course I bring my mother to her cancer treatments. Like, of course I do that. Like, of course, like I have my sons help my father mow the lawn, like, and I do yard work, like, like, of course, like, and this is not me, like this,
because this is not me.
Yeah. Like it's me, but like I had to get to a point, which I was sharing earlier today in our group, is that I wanted to live my life with alcohol, but I got to a place where it progressed and progressed and progressed, and got worse and worse and worse. And we all know what happens when it just gets so bad. And my liver, I didn't know it was really starting to damage my liver. And it showed up in how I looked. Like, I look at pictures of myself towards the end of my drinking career, and I look like,
I know. Oh God.
I look like Jabba the Hutt. Like, I'm like
swollen, like pickled. Pickled. Yeah. Yeah.
All that internal inflammation that I didn't realize that the alcohol was doing. And I was having like a lot of heart issues in the middle of the night. And I did end up having like this rock bottom dream that I did. That was my rock bottom. Like I was given, because I feel like my whole life, like God was like tossing pebbles at me, be like, bad decision, bad decision. No, that's going to kill you. Here, what? And I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you, like pebble after pebble, and like little hints of like maybe and I'd be like, maybe I drink, maybe I like alcohol a little bit too much. Like maybe, but I really need it. Like, I'm like, I need it to like function in this world.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like with everything that's going on. And so, what ended up happening is I was 39 years old. I had 3 young boys, 2 with autism. My husband and I were doing the best we could, but we were just kind of cohabitating, and I just kept drinking, and it was like resentments and drinking and resentments and feeling sorry for myself. It was my fault that my kids have autism. It's my fault. Poor me, poor me, poor me. Like, so my life just became more and more and more like, so just all about me. Like, that's all I thought about. Mm-hmm. And if I thought about somebody else, like if I thought about my son who has autism, I'd cry and be like, it's my fault. You know, like I wasn't like, okay, this is his issue. What do we need to do to try to find? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I did the best I could. Just like my parents, they did the best they could. I was doing the best I could with how I knew how to live a life. Yeah. And then God gifted me with like a whomper of a dream. Like it wasn't a pebble. It was like a boulder. I was literally being submerged into a vat of liquid after this long dream. In fact, one of my episodes, I share the dream. I can remember the dream like I had it last night. It was so vivid. It was like so literal, like going on the off ramps and off the on ramps, and, you know, like driving like into like to sludge and like not knowing where the heck I was and really confused. And then just being brought to this like structure of a building that was being, you know, it just looked like death. It was like black, like everything was like black and murky in the dream. And the only thing that was like transparent was the vat of the elevator was like a big fishbowl, like a giant sized fishbowl. And I was told to go on to this fishbowl into this elevator. Mm-hmm. And then people were on it, but then they got out and they were watching me, and somebody just hit this button. Like it was horrid. And the button was pushed. I was going down. I'm like, where am I going? What is happening here? And all of a sudden I felt like water pool around my feet, like liquid. And I looked down and I'm like, what's going on? And the lower I went, the higher the liquid came. And at first I'm like, it's water. Like oh my God, I'm drowning in water. I'm going to drown in water. Oh my God. And I woke up like after I was fully submerged, and I woke up like, like I literally woke up gasping for air. Like I was holding my breath in my dream, and I laid there, and I was so, you know, when like those hangovers and your head is pounding and you just can't move, and you want to cry. Like I wanted to cry, but I knew it would make my headache worse. So like I would just lay there, and tears were coming, like just like going down like into my ears. And I was like understanding the dream. And so I was crying because I was like, I finally understood. I was like, holy mother, like I, like I didn't realize this was God. Like I didn't realize this was like a gift from God until much later in my sobriety. And it didn't make sense. It didn't, like, I couldn't believe I was having that kind of a dream, but I laid there and I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing to myself? What am I doing? No, actually, my first thought was my kids. Like, what am I doing to my kids? Like, what am I doing to myself? Like, how did I get here? Yes. It like, I was just like, how am I this person? Because I wasn't always this bad. I was a functioning alcoholic for so many years. And it wasn't till, like I said, like the last year or two that it just went like, and so then I went and heard my youngest son, Cameron, he called for me, and he's 13 now. He has autism. He had just been diagnosed. And so it was the second diagnosis of autism. Of course, like it was all about me. Like, oh, like I must have done something to make them autistic. Well, anyway, so I went and laid it with him, and he's just like this beautiful little boy. And he looked at me, hi, mommy. And he said it, the way he said it, this is really like fucked up. but like the way that he kind of shows up as autistic is that he does these like sing-songy vocal stimming. So when he said, "Hi, mommy," he did not sound autistic. And I really feel like it was like God talking to me.
Wow.
That dream was a gift from God. God was saying, okay, these pebbles are not working. These seeds I'm planting in your life are not working. I'm giving you a boulder. And then as soon as Cameron said that, I started to like just wail, and quietly though, because I again, the headache, you know, and then I thought, well, no, I didn't think this. This thought was put into my head. Google local AA meetings. Every morning before that, I was always like, I'm alive. Like, cause I was like, I went to bed every night saying, God, like a God that I didn't believe in. Can you take me tonight? Take me tonight. Yeah. My death was in that morning after that dream. It was the first time a new thought popped into my head, and that thought saved my life. That message. And literally, this is the power of like a spiritual life, that I was, for some reason, I'm gonna try not to cry. For some reason, my life was saved. Okay. And I was given the gift of like knowing, like this deep knowing, but not necessarily being able to articulate it, that I had to travel on some kind of spiritual path. Because as soon as that thought came into my mind, I felt this like, it's over. Like it's done. Like it was this feeling of I'm giving myself physiologically, like, I don't know, psychologically deep down, like on some kind of deep spiritual level, I was like, I relaxed.
You were able to breathe.
Because I was like, this, maybe this is the answer. Because I never considered AA before then. So I went to my first AA meeting that night, and it was all men. I'm like, I'm in an all men's meeting. But then a woman showed up towards the end, and she ended up being my temporary sponsor, and she saw something in me. I heard people talk, and they were like, I was like, holy shit. Like, these people are reading my mind. Well, Lori, I have to admit, like, I started off this conversation by saying I'm pretty willful. Like, I was willful in sobriety for quite some time, and I was doing it my way. Like, I was acting out. I was like picking up, like smoking cigarettes. I was like doing things. And then like I had a sponsor who took me through the 12 and 12, but we didn't really finish. And like, I'm not blaming her or me. Well, maybe me. Like, but I was like, but then I started to get this, like I'd go to meetings. I had my home group that I finally was like very engaged in a home group, like years 4 through 7, still not having made amends to anyone, like nothing. But I was doing service work. I was saving my seat. Okay. I was calling other alcoholics, all that. And then, and I did the 12 and 12 kind of, and so I'm like, and I'm kind of happy.
And I'm not drinking. Yeah,
I'm not, right. I'm not drinking. But then like, there'd be times I'd be like, why am I and I feel sorry for myself. I can't drink. If I was normal, I could just drink over this and I'd feel better. Yeah. But I never did. Like, I never relapsed. Like, I had 2 one-day relapses within the first 4 months of being in the program. Okay. The second one is when I almost lost everything, like my husband, my children, everything. So that scared the bejesus out of me. And then that's when I was like, wow, okay, I have no control over. Yeah. I really understood what it meant. But then it wasn't until COVID, and I had just started my podcast, and then I started meeting people from all around the world. And then I met some people from California, and I met this one person from California who said, hey, do you want to go to this meeting? I'm going to start this Zoom meeting because of COVID. Nobody can go to AA meetings. And I was like, yeah. And I knew this person knew a lot about the Big Book, which beforehand I had been starting to really like, how we were talking before about like seeking God, like I was seeking more because I felt like there was something missing. I'm like, I didn't get sober to just kind of feel okay, and to still think about alcohol. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Like I am literally like in the fourth dimension and I can't explain it because whatever, like what I've learned is like whatever that has happened to me that's so divine, like really you can't put words to it.
Yeah.
So like people, like people who've been through it and like feel like they know they've had this psychic change when they know that they finally know that like I'm not the director,
Yeah.
like I'm not running the show here.
It's
and you know
crazy.
what? And thank fucking God I'm not running the show.
I'll never forget, somebody told me this story, and it was this story of a guy, and the floods were coming, and he said, and somebody came by in a boat and told him to get in the boat, and he's like, no, God's gonna save me. And then he got higher and a helicopter came and he's like, no, God's gonna save me. And he drowned. And when he met God, he's like, I sent you a boat and a helicopter.
I love that.
And I
love
love that story because it's true. It's the people that he puts in our lives, in the situations, and all these little things that are not coincidences that I would have just whatever before. I smile because they're for reasons. And it might not be as dramatic as saving you from drowning, but it could be. It could be, I'm just so passionate about recovery. And I had a really hard time with recovering out loud for a while because of of AA and its anonymity. But I almost felt like I have to do this because I have to do it. And it was almost, and I shared this with somebody, that I was doing penance by going to AA meetings because I was a bad drinker, and so therein lies the stigma that we put on ourselves still, even as we're recovering. And the pandemic, once again, showed me that recovering out loud was not a sin. It's not a shame. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You sharing your story of your dream and your son, saying, hey, mommy, is just like, those to me are God sends, God moments. Those are those things that maybe somebody else would have not recognized, and just kept on doing what they were doing. And that moment of clarity that you got. And that's all we need sometimes, for that, smack on the side of the head. He was doing this, hey, for a really long time, and then push you down the stairs or throw you into a vat of liquid.
I'm just so grateful for how like AA has helped my husband and I become better parents. Like he went through the steps. He did it through the workshop as well, and he's not an alcoholic.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so now
amazing.
Yeah, so he really understands AA now. Like he didn't before because he's not an alcoholic, so it's like he's like, why are you like talking to all these strangers and they're you like love them and like you don't even know them? And I'm like, well, of course you like I understand why now he can't understand. So I'm just so grateful that he had the opportunity to experience what a lot of us have experienced going through the 12 steps in the Big Book. And I love that what you're doing here on YouTube, and you talked about the anonymous part of it. Like I have to be honest, I have been conflicted about that, but I felt, I was not anonymous when I was drinking.
Somebody said that to me too. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, well, you're right. Yeah.
Like I was pretty like loud and proud of how I could drink you and you under the table. And then you see people like struggling and suffering all around you. And like we all want to feel like our life has purpose, right? So it's like, I don't know, like God made this earth, God made us, like I believe that. So everything that's being created, it's just God. So when I hear from my friend, God is in Instagram, God is in YouTube, God can be in anything. Like if you put God there, like if you speak of God, if you speak of the steps and how it's life-saving, how like it turned this person who like had a death wish for so long into somebody who really I want to live. Like I like take care of myself now. Like I don't want to put bad to my body. I want to exercise so I can, for longevity. It more and more, like the more I think about other people and how I can be useful for you, like how I can help you, hopefully on your show.
You are helping somebody. You're helping me right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, but seriously, I mean, we say it like tongue in cheek or whatever, but no, but seriously, I'm learning something. Our friendship has gotten deeper. Because I've learned something that I didn't know before. I know this is going to help somebody else that says, you know what? Oh my God, I felt the same way. Oh my God, I felt the same way. And that's all I want to do, is to help people to say, wow, me too.
I know how hard it is. It is so hard to stop drinking when you're an alcoholic, when you're a bona fide alcoholic. Like for me as a mom in the wine culture, like the mommy wine culture, like I live in an affluent town and like people work hard and party hard and it's passed down through the generations. And like, I'm not saying like bad. That's just the reality of it. That's just like how it is. And it was so hard to like step away from that culture. But I've made new friends. I still have some of the same old friends. And, it's just, I had to make a decision. Like, am I gonna like, do I want to die? Do I really want to die? Do I really want to do this to my kids? Do I really want to leave them motherless? Because that's the direction I was headed.
Yeah, me too.
What's so wonderful about AA too is like you learn the tools of like not only are you relieved of the obsession of to drink, like that bondage, like the chains of addiction, like not only like if you do the steps the right way and you're really willing, not only are you relieved and you can be recovered, you also can be relieved of that fucking obsession, the bondage of self, which is like worse than than the obsession to drink.
That's where it starts. And so you're just covering it with something.
Yeah. And so going to bed at night, like I can go through my day and then I go to bed, I feel so much better. That's the miracle. Such a gift of what AA can offer people. It did for me. Like I'll just speak for myself. It saved me from myself.
Yeah, it did for me as well. And I am forever grateful to AA, and I always will be. But for me, for right now, I'm really enjoying the Instagram recovery community and the podcast and sober gratitudes. I love it. I really do. And I just honestly, truly, from the bottom of my soul, Sarah, I just love you. And I'm just so glad that we got a chance to do this.
Thank you for doing what you do. Like, I feel like we're like traveling this journey together, like with the same mission to help others.
Yeah, we just got into the same road, and I'm so glad we met. And
me too.
And I love that our friendship just got a little deeper.
I feel it. I love you so much.
I love you so much. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And